Okay, let's deepen our analysis now. We're joined to do that by Julius von der Laar, political consultant with the Obama administration in the past, a political consultant now here in Berlin. Also with us is Stephen E. Kuhn. He's a businessman and a war veteran, a recipient of the Bronze Star for bravery in combat in the First Gulf War. Thank you, gentlemen, both of you, for being with us today. Let's start out with picking up with Alexandra and what she was saying there about the divisions in America. Donald Trump addressed that in his speech. You know, Julius, let's start with you at that side of the table, saying, you know, he wants to unite the nation. Was this address a step in that direction?
Well, I mean, it was a short speech, but I think there would have been enough room to go a little further to reach out. Like, if you strip away all the pomp and circumstance, if you take away everything from the flags and everything, this could have been a speech that was delivered half a year ago in Ohio or Wisconsin on the campaign trail. So I didn't hear a lot of things that said, you know, let's reach across the aisle, let's bring in Democrats and Republicans together. I don't think there was a single line that made those 65 million people who didn't vote for Trump change their mind, come over to his side.
What do you think, Stephen?
I think the opposite. I think what it was classic Trump, and I also think that would he have been suddenly a different person, like many have expected, it would have come disingenuous across. It would have come across disingenuous. I believe that it wasn't the place to talk about Democrats and Republicans. It was a place to talk about the people, and he focused on the people, we the people, together, us.
Okay, do you think the people were listening? Are they going to? Are the majority of Americans going to take this speech and say, this is something we can work with, this is something we can move forward with, or are people going to be interpreting it like you have on set, you know, pretty much divided along political lines?
Well, again, I think that's probably the way they're going to interpret it. If I had to put a hashtag on it, I'd probably say this is midnight in America, the way it sort of got portrayed. Look, I don't think there was a major difference from his convention speech that he gave in the summer, where people said, I think this is the point where he turns and sort of goes to a more positive message. He talked about the American carnage. I thought that was a pretty dark chapter in American presidential inaugural addresses. So, again, it was right on message. It was right to Trump brand, but it wasn't positive.
Okay, I want to bring up some video right now of the Clintons and the Bushes. You know, a lot of people very distraught about this transfer of power. If we could look at that video, I'd like to ask you, you know, what does this say? You know, the level of political leadership in America crying, you know, we saw a lot of emotional scenes there in terms of how this administration is going to get things done. Does it have the political allies it's need? Does Donald Trump, with his new cabinet, Stephen, I want to start with you, does he have enough power behind him in Washington right now to get his agenda pushed through?
I think he does, and if he doesn't, he will get it. He's a man who gets what he wants by navigating and maneuvering to get what he wants. And I think he's smart enough, and he's bringing the right people in, go-getters, get-her-dones kind of guys that'll kind of come in and make it happen.
Julius, he has a lot of confrontational tones that he's set already when it comes to China, when it comes to Japan, when it comes to allies like Germany. Is he on a confrontational course with friends and allies?
I think exactly the opposite. I think what we heard is America first. We heard it numerous times, America first. So I think, is this a retreat from the world stage? If you think about some of the capitals in Europe, I think some of those leaders may have heard the speech with grave concern. On the opposite, Moscow and Beijing, I think they're looking at this, well, great, America's retrieving more space for us to expand.
Okay, he's looking to unify people with these messages. Let's hear what Donald Trump said. He said in his inaugural address, he attempted a message of unity after what was we've been discussing about a divisive election campaign. Let's hear what the new president of America had to say about that.
A new national pride will stir our souls, lift our sights, and heal our divisions. It's time to remember that old wisdom our soldiers will never forget, that whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots. We all enjoy the same glorious freedoms, and we all salute the same great American flag. And whether a child is born in the urban sprawl of Detroit or the windswept plains of Nebraska, they look up at the same night sky, they fill their heart with the same dreams, and they are infused with the breath of life by the same almighty Creator.
Okay, when was the last time we heard this? Ronald Reagan.
Definitely Ronald Reagan was the last time I remember hearing it that intense.
Okay, we're not used to this, are we?
No, we're not.
I mean, for you, you're a younger man, Julius. You know, you don't remember the type of speeches Stephen and I maybe are talking about.
I wasn't around during the Reagan times.
Yeah. What does this sound like for you? It's a new nationalism. It's something we have not heard in decades, and at this level, it sounds even a little bit more nationalistic than we heard from Ronald Reagan.
I mean, I think the one quote, and I think came right after what we just heard, is, you know, he's going to get rid of politicians who won't act. And I think it goes along those lines. It goes back to his theme of America First, Make America Great Again. And, you know, he's positioned himself as an outsider throughout this whole campaign. And now he's in the heart of Washington, sitting on the steps of the Capitol. He's now the president, you know, the manifestation of the establishment, and the former president sit behind him. Entire Congress is there. And he says, you know, we're going to get rid of every politician who's not putting his money where his mouth is. And so I think that was a strong message, and I think it resonated incredibly well with the base. I think that's what a lot of people in the United States wanted to hear, to say, let's put us first again. We're tired of, you know, not seeing the sort of uplift that we've seen throughout the last years. So I think he's resonated with this message in Wisconsin and in battlegrounds that we've seen in the Midwest.
So in the heartland.
Absolutely.
Absolutely in the heartland. And with the U.S. military, this is very important, isn't it, Stephen? I mean, what can we expect from Donald Trump? He said, for example, he wants to wipe out Islamic State. You're a veteran. What do you think he's talking about there?
I think he's talking about, as he said in his speech as well, that they're going to come to get the world united against radical Islam. So
that means working with Russia,
working with anybody that's going to, you know, wipe out ISIS, if you want to put it that way. Mm-hmm. Indeed, that's what he says. If I can say, as a veteran, it rings true to me what he spoke about the Patriot blood, and that's something we have. We have a organization called the United States Army Brotherhood of Tankers. Mm-hmm. We're 7,000 guys, and we live that credo. And it's not nationalistic. It's patriotic. It's I'm there for my brother. I'm there for my citizen. We're black, white. We're everything. And there's no arguments there about that. And it can happen. It can be. And that's the hope that we have to keep within us.
Is this the kind of commander-in-chief you've been dreaming of?
He's a commander-in-chief that can lead us in the right direction when it comes to taking care of the problems we have in the world today. Yes.
More so than the Bush administration.
I think the Bush administration was a completely different vehicle. I think Donald Trump is more of a less of a tactician himself, and more of one who puts people around him that can be that way. Look at our defense minister, for instance.
Okay.
You know, Secretary of Defense.
Julius, here in Germany, the nationalist message, the patriotic message, as Stephen put it, doesn't go down very well, does it?
Well, I think if you're a German politician, you should probably stay away with the patriotic message. At least tune it down just a tad. We don't want to hear about red blood. So that's something unique to Germany, of course. But just to pick up on that point, again, he's assembled a cabinet around him. You know, the incoming Secretary of Defense, several other incoming Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. Now, there are going to be a couple of differences between those folks and Donald Trump. Here in Germany, we just listened to his interview in Bild Zeitung, where he talked about NATO being obsolete. So I think there needs to be a strong alliance against ISIS, against some of the evildoers, to use the words of George W. Bush. But so let's see if he can actually unite them, and let's make sure that actually people pay their dues. So I think there is a important aspect of sort of reinvigorating NATO. If Donald Trump can do that, more power to him. Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap up with a NATO question then. Do you see NATO, the United States, Stephen, we'll start with you, NATO, the United States, and Russia, all three working together against Islamic State in Syria and Iraq?
I can see it happening. It's sort of happening right now, isn't it? Everyone's there. They're just not working together. It takes someone to stand up and say, okay, enough. Mm-hmm. Let's do this way. And it sounds to me like President Trump is heading in that direction.
Julius?
I think if you ask some of those terrorists, I think they will argue that Barack Obama has been going after them pretty hard. look at Osama bin Laden, look at some of those other theaters that are out there. So, again, I think it's important to move. I think it's important to unite NATO to reach out to Russian allies. I think there's going to be a whole lot of questions with regard to Russia. Let's see how that plays over the next couple of years. But again, Trump has got the opportunity to unite. There's a new beginning. I don't think we should continue to litigate the past. This is a new start, and I think Trump should reach out.
Great way to look at it, Julius. This is a new start. Give him 100 days, right?
Exactly.
It's a new start.
Let's move.
Okay, let's move.